Is up, my guys? Today I'm back with another video, and today I want to talk about another very important subject. And the subject, it's a verse out of the third book of Maccabean, and it's included in the Ethiopian Bible. It's not included in the standard Bible like the King James, because at some point there were people sitting down at the table and decided which books get included into the Bible and which don't. To me, I don't want to let somebody that I don't know and I don't know if I can trust decide which books I get to know about. Maybe they're leaving some information out which they don't want us to know, and to me that's censorship, bruh. So get yourself an Ethiopian Bible and make up your own mind, bruh. So I want to talk about one specific verse, and it's something the devil says. In this book he gets to speak to, and he says, I will lead them astray and I will strengthen those who follow God's will. So to me that verse really stood out, because apparently to the devil there's two different kinds of people. There's the ones he tries to lead astray, keep away from God's laws, so they end up at the same place he's going to end up. And there's those who follow God's will, and he will strengthen those. So I kind of thought at first, what? The devil wants to strengthen us? But I thought about it, but I don't think so, bro. I think it's more of an inevitable consequence of his attacks and temptations. Because we who know God's laws and what he wants and how he wants us to go about this life, even if we fall to some of his attempts and attacks, we always return to the righteous path, because we know what God wants, and we will keep on fighting those sins that he wants to get us with. So for example, I want to bring up a sin I struggled myself with, and it's the substance of nicotine. I like to consume those nicotine pouches, those sins or whatever. They're called sin, bruh. That's funny, bro. Anyway, the sins are from the same company as Marlboro, bro. It's from Philip Morris. Anyway, I knew this wasn't right. I knew God didn't want me to consume like something like that. The body is a temple, and you shouldn't put all kind of drugs into it, bruh, because in the end it lowers your frequency, it lowers your vibration, man. It just puts you down, and if you're deep into it, you don't even notice, man. And I tried so many times. I I knew it wasn't right, but let's face the facts. With these things, with these sins, with these habits, we can't do it for years and then stop cold turkey and never do it again. So we often have to fail multiple times with the same sin, as I did. You know, at first I could do a day without them, or 2 days or 3 days. You know, sometimes I did a whole week without them, but then I fell back, you know, and then I was like, bro, now I gotta start from zero again, from scratch, bro. I fucking hate this, man. You know, but what I didn't realize back then, bro, was that I was building a lot of strength. I was just looking at the number of days I didn't do without this. But if I would have compared the progression, like the 1 day, the 2 day, every time I did more days and everything, I maybe would have seen, bro, earlier that there's a lot of strength that was built, and it's not like those attempts were for nothing. And it's the same with those attempts of the devil, you know. It was like every other sin. It was a temptation, you know. Every time I was at the gas station, those fucking cans looked at me, and I was like, I was having this inner fight every time. But every time I won that fight, bro, the next time I went to the gas station, it was easier, bro. So you guys, everybody, you know, me too, we have to give ourselves some grace and some attempts, bro. And in this verse that I mentioned, the devil himself says that he will strengthen us, those who remain who do God's will. And I just thought, man, that's true. You know, if you ever had an addiction and was really deep down in that, and then slowly managed to overcome that addiction, you're one hell of a strong person, bruh. I respect you. I respect myself, bro, for doing this. I thank God for doing this. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to win this fight. So yeah, that's just one verse of this book, but I thought this was really important. So maybe I will talk about more of these verses in this book, but this is one verse that I really wanted to get into with you guys and talk a bit about my own experience of getting stronger through the devil, because in this verse we see that God uses the negative things, the bad things, even those he uses for our good. And that's the message of the day, man. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'ma fill the 10 minutes. 3, 2, 1, Bye bye, guys.